Welcome, everyone. We're glad you're with us today for our virtual brown bag. Today's topic is commencement. So I'm assuming that a few of you who are on here are interested in commencement and knowing more about the process and what happens. Our presenter today is Jeremy Agor. He is our coordinator for this commencement here in the College of Engineering. Our previous coordinator, who was the guru, she's retired. So Jeremy's filling in until we get a new guru to set up. He's going to go through some slides, and you are welcome to ask questions, put them in the chat, and then we'll bring them up and Jeremy will answer them as we go through. All right. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy Agor.
Great, thank you, Carter, and welcome everybody. I assume since if you're on here, you're ready to go for commencement, so congratulations on making it through your years at UTA. Glad that you've been successful. We're glad you've done it. And here's some information today that will hopefully make commencement a little bit easier and more straightforward for you. Slide, please.
Okay. Here we go. All
right, so as you can see on the slide, there are some important things you need to do if you want to get your diploma and walk. MyMav, you should already have applied for graduation. So hopefully you've done that. If you haven't, then there's some things you need to do very, very quickly. Get with your advisor and get that process going. Marching order, which is the RSVP for commencement. They are two different things. Graduation from the university and commencement are two different things. So marching order is on the university's commencement webpage, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Slide, please. All right, so what is graduation compared to commencement? Graduation is the actual awarding of your degree. So as you can see, the Office of Records handles graduation and the mailing of the diploma. So basically, graduation is you've completed all your classes, you've done all the things that you need to do that are required of you as a student, and once they've checked off all the boxes, they're going to send your diploma, and you will be an actual graduate of UTA. Commencement is just the ceremony. It's the pomp and circumstance where you walk in, you walk across the stage and get your diploma cover. It's going to be at the College Park Center this time. The Dean's Office and each UTA college handles commencement, and we do have commencement ceremonies in May, August, and December. Slide, please.
Let me make the point, students, even if you come to commencement, you do not get your diploma at commencement. Your diploma is mailed to you after commencement. At commencement, you get a lovely diploma cover to store it in, but you don't actually get the diploma at commencement.
Correct. So what happens at commencement? You gather with your friends and family, people get in the stands and cheer and clap and take pictures. It is optional to participate. You do not have to participate in commencement if you don't want to. A lot of times people's parents and families want them to, but if you don't feel like it, you don't have to. It's not a requirement to get your degree. What doesn't happen at graduate or at commencement? It doesn't, as Dr. Tiernan said, it doesn't indicate that your degree was awarded. Final grades are not posted until after the ceremony, so you may have things outstanding that will preclude you from actually graduating and earning your degree. So you have to wait till the Office of Records goes through and checks all the boxes. As Dr. Tiernan said, no diplomas are distributed at the ceremony. They get mailed to the address in your MyMav account about a week or a month and a half or 2 months after the grades are posted. So make sure that your MyMav account address is correct. We do get a lot of issues with this every year where people have moved and changed addresses and maybe they don't have a forwarding address or something like that. Make sure that the address in MyMav is correct. Slide, please. All right, so you RSVP for commencement. If you haven't done this already, you've already missed the first ticket offer. It doesn't mean you can't register for commencement and attend, but you need to do it immediately so that you can be in the second and third ticket offers and claim your tickets. It's on marching order. It's not on MyMav. Marching order, you can see the URL there. You can also find marching order from the university's commencement website. And you can sort of see what it's going to look like there on the screen. Next slide, please. You're going to upload a photo of yourself. Please make sure it's a photo that you and your mother would be proud of. Nothing weird, like they will actually be vetted so to make sure that they're appropriate. So, you know, no party pictures. Try and look professional. Don't just do a selfie that's terrible. Make sure that it looks good. You don't have to wear your regalia, but you should at least look nice, because this is going to be shown to all couple thousand people that are in the arena, and you don't want to look goofy in those pictures. Next slide, please.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Had a question come up. So.
Okay.
And this, we may not know the answer to the question. So the question is, why is commencement being held at CPC and not at Globe Life Field when engineering is so large? Well,
that's a good question. And honestly, we won't fill the CPC. We'll be close, but we're not going to fill CPC. As of this morning, I think the list was about 675 graduates that are planning on walking at commencement. So we'll have plenty of space. This could become an issue later on, especially with all the deferrals that we've had this semester, and the university, as enrollment goes up, our graduating classes are larger. So that will be an issue at some point. Globe Life Field is incredibly expensive to the university. So the fact that we don't have to go there yet is a good thing. We're not expending that huge amount of money. And as a graduate, I think it's better for you as well, because you're not in a cavernous arena. You're going to be in a place that's a lot more intimate. It'll be a lot easier for your family and friends to see you. At Globe Life Field, the audience is really, really far away from the graduates. So, I mean, you're basically looking through binoculars to see your graduate across the stage, and it's not as intimate a setting. So I think the CPC is probably a good place to be as long as we can be there. Thank you for that question, by the way. The next part about RSVPing for commencement, tell us how to say your name. Dr. Tiernan, for people that haven't or that registered too late, she ends up having to read names, and some names are much more difficult to pronounce than others. She does a great job of it. But if you, when you register for commencement, put the phonetic spelling of your name and also record it, we can hear how you say your name, so you're sure that we're not going to say your name incorrectly. And, you know, like, for instance, my last name is Agor, but I get Agar and Agur and all kinds of weird things. When I'm walking across the stage at one of the biggest events in my life, I'd love it if my name was pronounced correctly. So just take the guesswork out for us, make it easy, and do that part. Next slide, please. Any ADA accommodations, if you, this is for students only, if you have a wheelchair or a scooter or crutches, if you have a service dog, if you have a sign language interpreter, let us know that so we can make accommodations for you. Again, this is for you, not for your family, not for your friends, just for you. Go ahead. All right, so these important notes. You must RSVP yes on marching order to be on the list to get tickets. And I will say, because I've gotten a lot of requests in the last couple of days, if you registered for on marching order yesterday, you will not be able to get your tickets today. If you register before this Friday at noon, then you'll be in the second ticket offer. So make sure you do that. If you registered late for the first offer, but you've already registered, you're already on the ticket list for the next offer. That'll be fine. But RSVP yes to get your tickets. If you decide you're going to defer to a later semester, you need to let me know as soon as possible, please. When you email me, say which semester you want to defer to, give me your 1000 number, your student ID number, and please give me your degree that you're getting. The university, as of spring 2022, is no longer deferring beyond one semester. Like, you can, if you're supposed to graduate this semester, they generally will let you defer one semester. It's up to the dean's office if we let you go farther than that. So, like, for instance, if you wanted to, or if you're supposed to graduate this spring and you want to go to next spring 2023, that's up to the dean's office. At the moment, we can accommodate that. But like I said, we've had a lot of deferrals because of COVID and things like that. I've had students contact me that graduated in 2017 that are now deciding that they're gonna walk in commencement. That to me is not a COVID related deferral. It's just that they didn't feel like it then, but they've realized they want to do it now. But we've had a lot of deferrals. The more people that defer, the larger the ceremony gets, and then we will run out of room. And if we're in the CPC and we don't have any expansion space, then you're going to be out of luck. It'll be the people that are in the actual semester graduation first, and then in order beyond that. So, you know, kind of allow that to help you make your decision. It's not usually a problem. We usually have plenty of space, but if the deferrals keep going like they are, that it's going to be a lot tighter. Your name and degree will only be printed in the program when you finish, not if you walk later. So if you finish in spring 2022, your name will be in spring 2022. It's not going to be in spring 2023 or fall 2022, just so you know. Next slide, please. All right, so get ready for commencement. Graduation candidates must wear regalia to participate in commencement. Not a suit and tie. We had somebody show up in some like Annie Mae kind of character costumes a couple commencements ago. That's not gonna go. You have to be wearing a robe and a cap and all that kind of stuff, consistent with the level of degree you're getting. You're responsible for contacting the bookstore and ordering your commencement regalia. The early bird deadline has long since passed, so you need to talk to the bookstore as soon as possible if you haven't ordered your regalia yet. Make sure you do that. It's going to be really hard to get it the day before. I won't say it's impossible, but it's probably going to be pretty close. So also make sure you take your regalia out of the packaging. Don't show up to commencement with it still folded in the package. Take some time, and if you're not going to iron it or steam it, at least let it hang a little bit to get some of the wrinkles out. Make sure also that you have all the things that you need. So your tassel, your zipper pull, your cap, your gown, make sure everything's correct. Don't wait till the day of commencement. Sometimes the bookstore, usually the bookstore has people on site that can sell you things, but you're not going to want to have to mess with it 5 minutes before you're ready to process. Next slide, please. So what's regalia? This is a bachelor's degree regalia. So the bachelor's degrees wear a mortarboard cap and gown, and you can wear any stoles, cords, or medallions that you've earned. If you have Latin honors, such as cum laude, magna cum laude, or summa cum laude, there are gold cords that you can purchase at the bookstore that you'll wear on your around your or with your regalia. The bookstore will have a list of those Latin honors, and your name must be on that list in order to purchase a cord. If you're in an honor society or student organization or something like that, you can ask them if they have any kind of cord or special stoles that they provide. You may have to pay for them, but that's something that you can choose to wear as well as if you want to. Next slide, please.
Let me ask, we got a quick question.
Sure.
And the question is actually, will these slides be available for somebody to use as reference?
They will not, but this is being recorded, and it'll be posted on the virtual brown bag page on the outreach tab of the engineering site. So you'll be able to go back and you can kind of play it through and just pause as necessary on the slides or to hear that kind of stuff. So,
okay.
Yeah.
The next slide.
All right. Master's candidates, you'll wear your mortarboard cap and gown or cap. You'll wear a gown and you'll have a hood. You can also wear stoles or cords or medallions that you've earned. The hood needs to be buttoned in the back, and you'll see if you kind of look on the right-hand side, master's gowns on the sleeves have these long kind of squared off wings. This may not be true. It may just be an urban legend or something like that. But basically, those wings are from medieval times when scholars would be walking back and forth from places. They didn't have backpacks, so they would use that to store their books and their papers and everything that they needed to get back and forth with. Master's candidates are not eligible for Latin honors cords. If you are in an honor society or student organization, they may have cords and stuff as well. And one thing about the hoods, I know that a lot of students sort of share them back and forth and stuff like class to class to class. A lot of the hoods that we see that are shared are not UTA hoods, so you're not in the same colors as everybody else. So please try and at least wear the same UTA hoods if you possibly can. Next slide, please. And these are the doctoral. This is the doctoral regalia. Doctoral candidates wear a cap. You're going to have a gown with 3 velvet stripes on the sleeves and a doctoral hood. You'll see in those pictures on the left, that's what's called a tam. That makes it a little bit easier. It's the preferred cap for a doctoral degree. It's not required, but it just makes it a little bit easier when your professor is putting the hood over your head. The mortarboard is perfectly acceptable. You're allowed to wear a mortarboard, not a problem at all. It's easier to catch the hood over on your cap, and it makes it a little more dicey when you're up there on stage. Cords and stoles are not typically worn with doctoral regalia, and you're not going to wear your hood. Master's students will wear their hood when they go up to the stage. Doctoral candidates, you'll be carrying your hood with you, and your professor will hood you up on stage. Doctoral candidates and their supervising professors also have an opportunity to do a practice so you know exactly every movement you need to make, how to hold the hood, how to hand it off, and all that kind of stuff. And we'll let you know about that closer to the ceremony. Next slide, please. Pardon me as I take a drink. So as I said, graduates should arrive in full regalia. Excuse me. Like I said, don't bring your gown still stuck in the plastic bag that it came in. Try and have it on a hanger or drape it over your arm or something, and then put it on as soon as you get into the building. Master students, you'll be wearing your hoods. We will have people available to help you make sure that the hood is on correctly. We'll get you set up so that the hood's not kind of falling back and pulling up on your neck and choking you. There's ways to fix that and make it work. So we'll make sure you're looking good. Like I said, PhD students, you'll carry your hood to the stage and hand it to your professor, who will then hood you on stage. If you do not wish to be hooded on stage, you can say that. You don't have to be hooded on stage. You just put your hood on and then cross the stage. Most people don't do that. Most people want their professor to have that, or they want the opportunity to have the professor put the hood on for them. Next slide, please. So for those of you that are undergraduate and master's students, this part is not for you, but we're going to go over the PhD hooding procedure quickly. There will be a podium for the hooding professors to stand on. Some graduates are kind of tall, and for the professor to kind of reach over the top of their head to put that hood on, it's a little bit awkward. So we have a podium that kind of raises them up a little bit. Next slide. It has a handrail. It's wide enough to allow co-hoodings. If you have two professors who are your advisors, you're allowed to do that. So you will hand your hood to your professor with the pointed end. I have photos of this in just a second, so it'll make a lot more sense. With the pointed end up and the satin side open toward you. So there's a velvet side and a satin side. The satin side should be facing you. Once you hand your hood to the professor, who will be up on the little platform, you turn around to face the audience. The professor will then place the hood over your head, and then once it's in place, the professor is going to tap you on the shoulder. Turn around, shake their hand, give them a hug, however you want to express your appreciation. Don't worry about adjusting the button or the hood or anything like that. Just do that. Shake hands, hug, and move on. You're going to receive your diploma cover from the president or the dean, and kind of take your cue from them whether they're going to shake your hands or not, and then continue off the stage. Next slide. So here's the picture. So you can see the blue velvet, the point is up, the satin shiny side is facing you, and the velvet side is facing the professor. And the reason for that is the satin side is what's going to go, it's going to be resting against your back. The velvet side is the fancy side that everybody else is supposed to see. So when you hand it to the professor, that's the way you want it set up, so that all he or she has to do is just put it right over your head. Next slide, please. And that's what it's going to look like for the professor. So the professor is going to have that velvet side. You will turn around. They'll put it over your head, kind of maybe smooth it out a little bit, tap you on the shoulder. You turn around and shake their hand or whatever. Next slide, please. Now there is an older style hood, and the velvet edge will be down, satin side facing you, velvet side still facing the professor. So this no matter what kind of hood you have, the satin side is going to face you, the velvet side is going to face your professor. Next slide. And this is, again, just the professor's view. Next slide. If you end up with your hood upside down, sometimes the best of intentions don't work. Continue on, shake hand or get your diploma cover, go off the stage, but fix your hood before you get your photo taken. And there will be people there as you come off stage to help you get it turned around and make sure that it's correct. You don't have to rush because you want to get it right, because the next step once you get off the stage is to get your photo taken. You do need to stay in order because the photographer matches the photos with the order that you cross the stage. So if you're Joe and you wait until Jane and Fred pass you, then Jane is going to get Joe's picture, Fred's going to get Jane's picture, et cetera, et cetera. So stay in order, ask for help if you need it, get your hood on correctly, and then keep going. Next photo, please, or next slide, please. And this, again, I'll give you a second to copy that down if you want to, but you can view a video of a proper hooding, and you can also see past commencements to see how that's all going to look at these two URLs. Like I said before, this recording will be available on the virtual brown bag website, so you can go back and look at it later. Next slide, please. So get creative, and this is a lot of undergraduate students choose to do this. Master's students, you'll be wearing a mortarboard too, so that's fine. And any PhD students that want to decorate your cap, add a little bit of flair, add a little bit of life to your cap. Obviously, we want you to keep it respectful, keep it so that there are young children, there are people that may not have the same beliefs or thoughts as you. So it's got to be something that's going to be acceptable in a family situation. Decorate your cap though, enjoy it. There is a university cap decorating contest, so you may want to enter that if you think you have a really fantastic cap. But there are a few examples of some that we've seen previously. Next slide, please. Will my name be in the program? Yes, but you have to have your privacy settings in MyMav set to allow that. If you have your FERPA settings that we're not allowed to say anything at all about you, your name will, we respect that as a university, your name won't be in the program. To ensure that your name's in the printed booklet, you need to make the change like immediately, because it probably should have already been done because they're getting ready to print those soon. Also, your name will appear as it appears in MyMav in the primary name field. So if your primary name in MyMav is Jonathan J. Smith, but you go by Joe Smith, it's not going to say Joe Smith, it'll say Jonathan J. Smith. And again, but check your FERPA settings, make sure your privacy settings allow that to be printed. And on the picture there, you'll see that any restrictions, it says commencement booklet, so you can keep all your other FERPA settings, but allow us to put your name in the commencement booklet. Next slide, please. Claim your guest tickets. So graduates who registered before April 15th got an email on April 11th for the first round of ticketing, which opened April 12th. The first round of guest tickets, you get 6 tickets. Each round is set up to get 6 tickets, but the second round and the third round kind of depend on how many tickets were claimed in the first round. So if you're in the first round of guest tickets, you can claim up to 6 tickets. You can see there are additional ticket rounds. The second round starts April 19th, which is next Tuesday. And then the third round starts April 26th, which is a week from next Tuesday. You will claim your seats on utatickets.com. Graduates, you don't need to worry about it. You get a grad pass. You don't need a ticket, but your guests will. Anybody 2 years old and over needs a ticket. So be sure that your guests have your tickets. They're going to print those tickets, and those tickets will be scanned at the entrance. And if you don't need all 6 tickets, please don't claim all 6 tickets because then again, those roll over to the second and third rounds for people that need them. Also, if you are friends with somebody who like say you need 10 tickets, you can get 6, and your buddy only needs 2. You can talk to somebody and say, hey, can you claim all 6 of your tickets and give me the extra 4? That's perfectly fine. It works great. People do that all the time. So that's another option to get some tickets if you need them. Next slide, please. Oh, and by the way, if anybody that's in each round, you're automatically rolled into the next round. So like if you get 6 tickets and you need 10 in the second round, you can go in the second round and get your extra tickets and stuff like that. Now, again, like I said, it is dependent on how many tickets were distributed in the previous round. So it may be down to 4 for the second round if that's the case or something like that. But generally, there will be tickets available in successive rounds. Like I said, guest tickets are needed for all guests who attend in person. All accommodations for guests who are in a wheelchair, need a sign language interpreter, will be taken care of on site. So when your guest gets there, they can ask, there's a table right at the entrance, they can ask for that to be directed to that table, and somebody will take care of those accommodations there. Relocation will be to the closest available seats meeting the needs of the guest, available at the time of request, beginning 1 hour prior to the start of the ceremony. So if your guest gets there an hour before, and there are 20 people in front of them, they're going to get the 20th best seat. But if they're there the first person, they're going to get the best seat available. That does not mean they get a front row seat necessarily, but they're going to get, they have people there to help with accommodations. Also, selling UTA commencement tickets is strictly prohibited. There's no need to do that. It's gouging and it's just rude. So don't do that. We don't allow it. That's all needs to be said about that. Next slide, please. So for you, the graduate, excuse me just a second. You will receive a grad pass that will have a seat location on it the week of your ceremony. So you will be in an assigned seat based on the department that you're in and the level of your degree. So bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, doctoral degrees. Please print and bring a paper copy of that grad pass to get into the arena. If you're not able to print it and bring it with you, then we'll send you to a help table and they'll help you get a copy. This is not going to be something that's going to necessarily be a quick process, so please remember to print and bring your stuff with you. If you have not RSVP'd on marching order by April 15th, you will need to check in to get a special ticket. Your name's not going to be pre-recorded, your picture's not going to be on the screen, and a live announcer, Dr. Tiernan, probably will read your name when you cross the stage. Graduates needing accommodations, please email me. My email address is right there, ASAP. And again, that's for the student. If you are a student who okay, I see a question here. What is the grad pass and how do I get it? That's what I was just talking about on this screen. A grad pass is, you'll get an email, and that's just a piece of paper that you're going to print out that gives you your seat location and gets you into the arena through the student entrance. So that's all you need to do. You just watch your email for that.
Where does, Jeremy, where does the grad pass come from? Does it come from the marching order system, or does it come from UTA, or do they?
That's a good question. I believe it comes from UTA because we're the ones that are going to be setting up the seat location. So it'll either come from somebody in the College of Engineering, likely me, or it'll come from like the Student Affairs graduate team, which I believe is grad team at uta.edu. So if you need accommodations, if you're in a wheelchair, if you're on crutches, if you have a scooter, if you have a seeing eye dog, a service animal, any sign language interpreter, let me know as soon as possible so that I can note that and make sure that you're accommodated in the way that you need to be accommodated. Also, let me just take this opportunity to talk about how you're dressed. You know, we're all adults here. If you want to dress looking sloppy, it's kind of up to you, but it is a very formal ceremony. It's something that you're going to remember. It's something your family and your guests are going to want to remember. So try and at least dress neatly, professionally is great. We prefer coat and tie, but if you don't want to do that, I mean, we're not going to make you, but, you know, crappy t-shirts and stuff like that are just not really appropriate for the ceremony. For women, and I suppose men too, if you wear high heels, but I guess cowboy boots you could have a good heel on that or something like that. But for women, we see a lot of people with like 6-inch stiletto heels. You're going to be on your feet a lot. You're going to be walking on an arena floor that's not necessarily, there's coverings on it, so it's not, there could be folds and stuff like that. You're going to be walking up and down steps and ramps. Wear comfortable shoes. I know that comfortable shoes aren't necessarily cute with your outfit, but you're going to probably feel a whole lot better by the end of the ceremony, and your feet are not going to be barking at you. So just friendly advice. You know, I'm not going to tell you you can't. If you want to wear that great pair of shoes, wear them. That's great. But it's just, you know, understand that there's going to be a lot of walking and standing and things like that it may not be comfortable. Okay, next slide, please. So commencement day parking, you can see pretty much all the lots around the general area of College Park Center are going to be open for parking. They do run shuttles for people that need them. They're just golf cart shuttles and sort of first come, first served. But make sure that your guests understand that it's going to take some time to park, because I mean, there's a lot of people, because these commencement ceremonies are back to back to back. So the ceremony in front of ours will end about an hour before ours does, about an hour and a half maybe. So those people are going to be clearing out as our ceremony people are going into parking lots. The traffic is going to be heavy. Take that into account, get there early, and be prepared to have to walk a little bit. Guests with wheelchairs or strollers can be dropped off at the turnaround at Arlington Hall. Again, there's a lot of people walking back and forth and across the street. There's a lot of traffic going up and down that street. So be sure you can't expect to get there immediately, like 5 minutes before. Find a place to park and get in place right before the ceremony. Next slide, please. Guests will enter at gates 2, 3, and 4. That's on the north side of the College Park Center, kind of over where Panera Bread is. Graduates and faculty enter at gate 1. That's on the south side, over towards well, the KC Hall side of campus on that side. Graduates, nobody other than a graduate or a faculty member with either a grad pass or a faculty ID will be able to get in gate 1. So if you forgot something in the car and your mom wants to get down to see you, they're not going to be allowed in. You're going to have to figure out a way to get up to see them, or to have somebody run back and forth to get something for you. So just, try and make sure you have everything you need. Make sure that your guests know where they're going so they can get great seats, and you'll be all set. Next slide, please.
Oh, can I make a point real quick?
Yes, please.
Particularly for the ladies, there is no storage. So if you are bringing something with you, like if it's raining, there is no storage for umbrellas. There is no storage for coats. Just be aware that if you can put everything in your pockets, that's better. Okay. If you have a small purse, that's fine. Or if you can leave your purse with your guests, that's the best, because there's just no place to store anything during the actual ceremony. So just a highlight for the ladies.
And I'll be talking a little bit more about that in a minute, but that's an excellent point. And, backpacks, same kind of thing, and you're not going to be allowed to leave it in the gym where you're lining up. So
right.
Just plan accordingly, please. So tentative run of show. This is basically what's going to happen. Most of you have probably been through a high school commencement before, so it'll be sort of similar to that. There's a processional. That's where they play pomp and circumstance. All the graduates walk in order. The faculty process in front of you. It's really a lot of, it's very showy, very formal. The provost will come to the front of the stage and call the commencement to order. That'll be followed by the national anthem and the flags presented by the UTA ROTC color guard. There will be a welcome and introductions. Generally, Dean Crouch will do this. He will just welcome all the honored guests, introduce all the people that are on the stage. So that'll be the provost, the president, department chairs, our speaker, things like that. The commencement address is being given by Paul Arundel. He's a UTA alum who's the global VP or worldwide VP for what's it called? I forget. It's a large healthcare company, and I looked it up earlier and I forgot what the name is now, but he's our commencement speaker today, or this year. Recognition of the candidates. This is where you're going to be actually crossing the stage. It begins with the PhDs, so the PhDs will go first. They'll be hooded. Then the master's students will come across and get their diploma covers, and then the bachelor's, the undergraduate candidates come across and get their covers. This is where your family can yell and cheer, clap. You can, pump your fist. Yeah, mom, I did it, that kind of thing. And then you go off and get your picture taken after. After all of the graduates have crossed the stage, the alma mater will play. The ring, you'll switch your ring around. Undergraduates will switch their tassel from right to left. The president will confer degrees, and then the ceremony will close. Closing of the ceremony basically is the recessional, so all the faculty will leave first, followed by all the students. And you're basically just going to go kind of back the way you came. Next slide, please. All right, so you don't have to memorize this in any way, shape, or form. This is just so you kind of know what's going to happen. On the left-hand side, you'll see gate 1. That's where you're going to enter. You'll go down the stairs, and there are 2 gyms. So you have one gym will be for graduate students, doctoral and masters. One gym will be for undergraduate students. So you'll be directed to your respective gym by volunteers. They'll tell you where to go. Master students, they'll help make sure your hoods are all set. Doctoral students, they're going to make sure your hoods are folded correctly so that you're all set to hand them to your professor. Undergraduate students, they're just going to make sure that everything's spit and polished and all that kind of stuff. It's an opportunity for you guys to go ahead and talk to your friends, take pictures, all that kind of stuff. Be excited and be proud of yourselves for being there and ready to cross the stage. With about 15 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer than that, prior to the ceremony, they're going to call you to order and get you ready to line up and go on, and do the processional. So the piece of paper, the grad pass that we talked about before, there will be a corresponding seat with a corresponding number in the gyms. That's where you're going to sit. and then you're just going to stay in that order all the way up to the or out into the arena to your seat. Everything's going to be fine. There will be people, volunteers leading you. You don't have to think at all. It's great. So you will get a card, actually, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but once you're in the gym, you'll get a card, and it's going to be color coded by department. It's going to have your name on it, any kind of Latin honors, the degree you're getting, so bachelor's degree in Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering, doctoral degree in Material Science and Engineering, whatever that is. Keep that card with you. Don't roll it, don't fold it, keep it with you. That's going to be something that is necessary when you get to the front of the stage, because they're going to scan that. It's going to read the name over the loudspeaker. That's the marching order program that you've been registering with. So that card.
Actually, Jeremy, the marching order paper they print out has the QR code, and that's what's read.
Perfect. I stand corrected.
And it's printed out on your marching order data. So you bring it with you that has your QR code from marching order. That's really important, because that picture and that audio that you recorded, they're going to be referenced by that QR code on your printed piece of paper. So you've got to print that out and bring it with you.
Yeah. And if you register late, if you don't have that, they will give you a card.
Right.
It's a gold card. We sort of touched on that earlier. That will be handed to the person at the front of the stage, who will then hand it to Dr. Tiernan, who will then do her very best to pronounce your name correctly as you cross the stage.
There was a quick question. You probably are getting there, but question about what time people should arrive.
Doors will open, actually, that's on a slide here coming up here, but doors will open for guests 1 hour before the ceremony and graduates 1.5 hours before the ceremony. Plan on being there an hour and a half ahead of time. If you're there early, the worst you have to do is wait a little bit. If you're there late, you're going to be running, you're going to be sweaty. Your parents are going to try and get into the doors with all these other people. They may or may not find seats. It's just going to be a stressful situation. And believe me when I tell you, there is a lot of traffic. There are a lot of people. So it's going to take some time. If you come running in 5 minutes before, we're going to get you in there, but it's going to be tough for you. Basically, we will get you into the arena as long as we possibly can, but please don't be late. Please try to be early so that we can make sure that you look your best and that you're feeling your best and you're able to really enjoy the day rather than being stressed out from the beginning. So next slide, please. And actually, here's the slide. That was a great segue. So doors open 1 hour before the ceremony for guests, an hour and a half before the ceremony for graduates. Please arrive no later than 30 minutes prior to the ceremony. If something comes up you can't attend, it's okay. You don't have to try and notify us. If you're not there, you're not there. I mean, the card that you hand off with the QR code and stuff, that's what's going to. It's not all pre-recorded in order. Like, we don't have your name there, and if you're not there, your name gets read anyway. If you're not there, you're just not there. We'll miss you, but we understand. College Park Center, this is kind of important too, has a clear bag policy for graduates and their guests. 12 by 12 by 6-inch clear bags, 4.5 by 8.5 clutch purses or wallets, or 1 gallon clear Ziploc bags are allowed into the venue, nothing else. Can't have a backpack, can't have large purses. And again, like we talked about, there's no storage for any of that stuff anyway. So leave it in your car, leave it at home. Diaper bags and medical bags, if you have them, those are allowed for obvious reasons. So, but just be aware of that. Tell your guests as well. They're not going to be able to bring the massive duffel bag size Louis Vuitton purse. You're not going to be able to bring your big aluminum frame backpack so you can go hiking after the ceremony. Keep it simple. Put stuff in your pocket. Your ID. Whatever else you need, little things, stick them in your pocket or whatever, or just leave them at home. Bring your printed grad pass to be scanned to get in and to have your name called when you cross the stage. And like I said earlier, wear comfortable shoes.
And let me mention, if somebody does have a diaper bag or a medical bag, it will be searched.
Yes, that is true.
So.
Yep.
Next.
Also, just be aware. Your parents are not going to be allowed to bring balloons and stuff into the arena. They can you can bring like flowers and stuff like that, but no balloons, no noisemakers, none of that kind of thing. Balloons are an issue because if they get into the ceiling, they can mess with the fire alarm system, set off the fire alarm in the middle of the ceremony, and that's not good for anybody. So plus they're really difficult to get down out of the ceiling afterwards. So just be aware of that. Next slide, please. So check your diploma info on MyMath. As you can see, it'll ask the exact name you want printed on your diploma. So you can see Tracy had her name in there as an example. And your address. What is the address you want your diploma mailed to? Again, like I said before, whatever's in MyMath is what they're going to use to mail your diploma. So if your apartment here on Spaniolo Drive is what it says in MyMath, and you don't live there, and there's no forwarding address 2 months from now, then you're not going to get your diploma. So make sure you have, like if you move and you're taking a new job, make sure you get that address change into the system so that you'll get your diploma as quickly as possible. Next slide. What happens next? What happens after commencement? Once you've passed your final classes, paid any outstanding bills and fees, and settled all your holds, once your final grades post, your degree plan will be reviewed to ensure that you met all the requirements. And that's kind of what I talked about earlier with the Office of Records. Your academic transcript will be updated to show that your degree was conferred. So if you're getting a job, as soon as that's done, that'll be up there so that you can prove that you actually did graduate and you met all the requirements. Your actual paper diploma will be mailed to you 1.5 to 2 months after your degree was conferred. So once that happens, grades post about a week after commencement happens. Then it's going to take a few weeks for them to get through everybody and make sure that all the requirements are met. So that 6 to 8 weeks could be a little bit longer. It could be into that 3rd month, just depending on how long it takes them to get through and confer everything. Generally, those are going to be pretty simple for most people. Some people have a little bit more complex cases, but just kind of be aware that your diploma is not going to be there a week after you graduate. It's just not the way it works. Check your status via MyMath and your UTA email regularly until you have your diploma in hand. So if you don't have your diploma by August or so, you might want to touch base with the university and see if you can find out what's going on. Next slide.
A question came up about posters coming into CPC. Can your family bring a poster to cheer while you're crossing the stage?
To my knowledge, yes. I think that's fine. Obviously, it won't be allowed if it's got something that's inappropriate on it. Keep in mind also that if you have this massive poster, if you bring a bed sheet and you're blocking off 6 rows behind you, then that's not really going to be appropriate either, because you're interfering with other people celebrating their graduates. So, but little posters that say, "Congratulations, Joe," or "We're really proud of you, Jane," or "That's my girl," or whatever. There shouldn't be a problem with that. All right, so was my degree awarded? At the end of the term, all of the UMAPs and GMAPs for students who applied for graduation will be evaluated. So Carter, help me with that. Undergraduate requirements and graduate requirements, basically.
Yeah, it's a formal record, your UMAP and your GMAP. Okay.
All students who meet degree requirements will receive an email stating that their degree was awarded, and then you're going to receive your diploma in the U.S. mail at the mailing list listed in MyMath. Students who do not meet degree requirements are sent an email stating their application for graduation is denied and they should see their advisor. Basically, that would most likely be something like you were waiting for that last grade to come in and you didn't pass that class. Or if they look through and they find out that now this shouldn't be the case because you should have been meeting with your advisor all the way through and it should have been caught well before this, but if you missed a class or something like that, or if there was a course that didn't actually map to your requirements, that could be something that happens. Students who are denied must reapply for graduation for a future term. Graduation fees and applications are non-refundable and non-transferable. So you're going to have to go through the whole paying to apply for graduation again and actually do the application for graduation again. Next slide, please. If you have any questions about graduation, which is finishing your degree and officially earning your degree, please contact your advisor. If you have any difficulty accessing or submitting the application for graduation, contact the help desk at gradteam@uta.edu. If you have any questions about commencement and I haven't answered your questions here, or if you go to the commencement website and can't find the answer, go ahead and email me at my email right there, agor@uta.edu. And that, I believe, is the end of the presentation. So we have a few minutes left. Again, congratulations to all of you. You've been working really hard. You've earned this. I hope that commencement will be great, and you're really going to enjoy this, and your parents are going to enjoy being proud of you for that day. Does anybody have any other questions that they'd like to ask? All right. Our next virtual brown bag is this Friday at noon on Teams. Dr. Magnuson in electrical engineering is going to be talking about his research and some of the work that he's doing. So hopefully you'll sign in and see that. Again, this slideshow is going to be, it's been recorded today, so the whole presentation will be uploaded to the website. Hopefully it'll be a little bit later today, at latest tomorrow, and you'll be able to go back through and get some of this more information. You can also go to the commencement website on the UTA webpage. If you can't find it on quick search, go to the search bar, type in commencement, you're going to find it. I believe it's uta.edu/commencement, which makes it really easy. Lots of information on the page. Read through it before you ask questions of other people. Take the time to actually go through the pages because there's a lot of really helpful stuff there. Last call for questions. All right, fantastic. If you do have any questions, feel free to email me, like I said, and I will see you at commencement. Thanks very much.